Ghost of Yotei has completely taken over my life. Despite some of the losers who are hating on this game for the female protagonist, some political reasoning, or the fact that it's a PlayStation game, Yotei is pretty well received, even though it's the second major samurai game to release just this year. I don't want to make this Assassin's Creed Shadows versus Ghost of Yotei because honestly, they do a lot of things differently and properly in their own respects. However, there are three major reasons I think people are going absolutely nuts for Yotei I want to share with you, and at the end, I'll explain why it can even be some people's game of the year, even if it isn't necessarily mine. First, we'll start with the most obvious reason. Combat. This is easily the most engaging part of the game, as it should be since it's how you progress. While the other two major reasons I'll mention have captured people for different reasons, I think most people will see the combat as a major drawing force to the game. There are some things the combat does well and some things that actually piss me off, but I think that's a me thing and I will try to be objective. The change to swapping weapons and a sort of rock, paper, scissors system with them over the different stances from the first game is very welcome. Typically what games do is they give you new weapons that are either stronger than the ones before or have a different playstyle that will resonate with individual players and you upgrade or unlock moves from there. What Ghost of Yotei does differently is that they give you weapons that pair well into different enemy weapon types. For instance, the katana matches well with other katana, but the dual katanas match well with spear users, the odachi into brutes, and so on and so forth. You could constantly run around with the dual katanas, but to be a master of the combat, which is a bit more cranked up in this game, you need to know when to switch and how to match your weapons against enemies. That adaptability is what separates a casual player from a true master. It's also the thing that keeps you playing Yotei. Put it down and you'll forget different mechanics and won't be as sharp as you were when you were playing every single day. Both gameplay loop-wise and psychologically, that's pretty smart. I will also say that the combat is pretty intense. I'm not playing on lethal, but I have died more than a few times. This game often puts you in situations where you're heavily outnumbered, and when it's a 1v1, the boss enemy is typically as skilled as you are, disregarding your spirits and ability to heal or whatever other mechanic you can use that they can't. It's like they're scaled for how the game is designed. The developers made these enemies with the intention that you're going to heal, you're going to parry, and you're going to dodge. They also added this amazing feature called disarming. You can do it, but more importantly, the enemies can do it. They can attack you with this yellow glint and make you drop your weapon. Not having a weapon in a 1v5 is super frustrating and changes the dynamic of offense to survival. You now have to run to get your weapon while avoiding all the enemy attacks in the midst of that. Every aspect of the combat was made harder, more creative, and more immersive. Even the bears are cranked up. I don't know who told Sucker Punch the bears in Tsushima weren't aggro enough, but they got that memo and have been whooping my ass, not gonna lie. I hate them, but also if I was in Yotei around this time, I'm sure bears would be whooping my ass, so yeah, the combat has prioritized realism, challenge, and overall option. You as the player can play how you like, and that's super important to me as a gamer. I don't like being confined to how the devs said I had to play. I don't mind general guidelines, but I more so enjoy finding what works for me, and Yotei nails that. Even with the skill tree, upgrading the things I prioritize most, like being able to move about the combat area in the way that I like to, or further upgrading certain techniques I think are cool and useful in fights has been very refreshing. It almost reminds me of a Metroidvania where you start kind of weak and unskilled, and as you explore, you progress and get the skills you want. Even looking at the different armor sets and buffs they give, you can create your own character even though it's all Atsu. I've seen so much drip online with some insane buffs. Whether you're going for survivability, damage, defense, or overall balance, it's all there if you can find it. The exploration is so extremely well done in Yotei, I don't know how to glaze it enough. From the spyglass letting you mark things off the distance, thank you Breath of the Wild, to the cartographer gifting you maps to go find your next treasure. Also, the NPCs are really good at hinting towards something going on around you, whether that's a fox den, a wolf den, a bamboo strike, or shrine. The game is made for exploration, but it's not in your face. Some other games have had the same amount of exploration, but it's crowded with map markers and question marks that end up being very overstimulating for people who just want to play that game as is. I'm not a completionist, and I say that often. I'm more of a main plus extra type of guy. Like, I'm going to explore every nook and cranny I run across, but I'm not going to force myself to find every secret or small thing just for a trophy. The only times I think I naturally did that were with the Spider-Man games and Pokemon Legends Arceus, two games that also didn't overwhelm you with their exploration. If you find this super 1% chance thing that happens or whatever, cool. If not, also cool. Ghost of Yotei is the type of game I tell people not to fast travel in. You will genuinely miss some amazing things. My favorite thing to do is ride around until I see a group of men on horses, wait for them to insult my skills, then whoop them. That is cool as fuck to me. Aside from main roads and walkways, there are paths that the little yellow bird will lead you to, or times where you'll see a fox and you'll chase him. It's like if you don't follow them, you'll never see them again and you'll miss out on whatever goodies they're looking to give you, and it's not worth wondering what if. In fact, there's no room for what if in this game. Every secret path, every mission, every side quest is worth doing. They're so unique but short, so you don't feel like you're burning a lot of time doing these. Some side quests are more time intensive, but they're always worth it, describing the major rewards they'll give you if you were to complete them before you even chase after them. That's a huge strength. Some people like side quests that are these huge deep side stories, but mostly in the day and age of open world fatigue, I think the short, unique, rewarding side quests feel more valuable. Realistically, a lot of these side quests take less than 15 minutes, from bounties to NPC requests. They aren't long, but I haven't done two that were the same, so they feel more special than if I were to run around the map for an hour chasing this one generic side mission. I could run and do a random side mission on the way to my next main objective, and if I get distracted by a bamboo strike or shrine or a group of Saito outlaws bullying a settler, I can handle that and get back to the side mission in order to get back to the main mission. It also helps me when I only have an hour or so to play. I can knock out 3 or 4 side missions and feel like I progressed through the game even when I didn't have 3 or more hours to put in a proper session. That's damn good game design, and most people game like that. Sure, on launch we'll drop hours into a game, but afterwards it's a random hour here or there until we progress. That's why portable gaming is taking over now. Sitting at a desk and clocking into your console isn't always possible, even when we really want to. Side note, this would be a great game for a PlayStation handheld. It runs great at locked 1080p 60 on performance mode and solid 4K 30 on quality. I don't think it would be hard to port this to a handheld, as PlayStation is super intentional about performance with their first party titles, and I've never had a bad experience with them. Drop the handheld, Sony. If you watch this far into the video, you probably like what I do, so go ahead and hit that sub button. It really helps support me and the channel as we push towards some major goals. Thanks. Ghost of Yotei just may be the master of immersion over any PS5 game I've played so far. I already made a short video about the controller and the way the game uses it to tell a really cool story physically alongside the music and visuals, but I want to talk about it more here. When Atsu runs, you feel the pitter-patter of her feet. When it rains, you feel the raindrops right here in the palm of your hand. When you're in combat, you can feel the parries, clashes, and attacks right in the palm of your hand. It's unreal. The first thing you do in the game is use the touchpad to write the names of the Yotei 6, a group of outlaws responsible for killing your entire family. Atsu is the main character and has dedicated her life to her revenge. She's such a 180 from Jin, who was all about samurai honor and had this internal struggle about violence and even how to go about it. Atsu don't give a fuck. She's like, hey, get out of my way or die. That is a bad I can't even lie. Along with Atsu, the NPCs are really engaging as well. They typically have some story or tales or requests of you, and when you follow through, it's never just a mission where you fight some people. When doing these, I felt compassion for the sad story and anger for the hurtful ones. I think many games have a compelling main story with lackluster side ones. They are on the side after all, but Yotei leads into these side stories to create additional depth and immersion. I can individually remember side quests, the story points, the characters involved, and their reasoning for even asking me to do what they did. In such a short amount of time with each character, you get attached to them and their story, which is a huge testament to the phenomenal writing in this game. The story and characterizations tell one story and the visuals tell another. This game is so incredibly beautiful and leans more on art style and the representation in this world over graphical fidelity. Yes, this game is graphically sound, but I've been playing at 60 FPS on my launch PS5, meaning my experience has been at 1080p. Now, PC gaming has taught me that resolution is not the same thing as overall graphics, and that a solid and dense world at 1080p clears any barren wasteland you will try to give me just to reach 4K. It's so easy to get lost in this world and imagine yourself in the land of Ezo. I've even been dreaming about this game's world, and it feels so real because of the amount of world I've seen as I've fought, explored, and experienced this game. I've stopped countless times in this game to look at the landscape, to admire how beautiful this game looks, whether it's on my 4K TV or my gaming monitor. This is what truly makes gaming the ultimate art medium. The ability to tie in a visual experience and kinetic connection with auditory elevation. Simply put, this music is insane. I switched to the Samurai Champloo music mode because the OG music was just too western for me, but you don't hear it all the time. In the sections where it's predetermined game music like main missions, boss fights, etc., it's really good, but hearing it while I'm running around and exploring Ezo all the time got exhausting. The battle audio though is really cool. Sometimes you can't see all the enemies, so hearing them scream when they're attacking from far away with bows, or them saying stuff like, you killed so-and-so and I'll make you pay, or whatever, is really nice. It's also subtle things like how the music will stop when there's no more enemies around, but will kick back up when there are enemies even if you can't see them. This has helped me stay alive more than once, since most of the time everyone's off screen, a restriction of difficulty rather than technicality. I love how 3 major senses are constantly being used in the gameplay experience. It's almost hypnotic, and when your brain tries to do things in game that mimic the real world, and you can, it gets even more hyper realistic. For example, if there's an enemy by fire and you're fighting, you can set them on fire. Hell, you can set yourself on fire. Or if a weapon is on the ground or just sitting around, you can throw that weapon at an enemy to get a really quick kill or some major damage. That's really cool design that I want to see even more games lean into. I'm no longer focusing on my weapons and how I want to fight, but instead I'm thinking of the entire battlefield, the space provided, the number of enemies, how I can turn the weapons against them, etc. That's the level of immersion many battle systems try to create but just can't, and it's amazing to see them do it, but not just in the combat, but in every aspect of the game. People are saying Ghost of Yotei is good, but it's not better than games like Expedition 33. It's me. I'm people. Listen, I love the game. It's in my top 3, but it's just not my game of the year, but I'm not mad at it for being yours. I have 2 major complaints that hold it back. These are all personal, so please don't bully me in the comments. This game doesn't feel like a next-gen product. It's worth the price of $70, don't get me wrong, but that's not saying much as we inch closer towards $100 games. It's graphically beautiful, but similar to God of War Ragnarok, it doesn't push the boundaries of the genre, the console, or overall artistry. I don't think it's a bad game, but to be game of the year, most of the time, I expect something that pushes the industry forward. A new standard for games both on the main stage and behind the scenes, and my personal game of the year has done that. I think this is an amazing project that should get the nomination, but the game of the year? It just doesn't do enough, and no, graphical fidelity isn't enough. Secondly, it's got a bad case of sequelitis. Being the second game, there's just so much that the game does in relation to Ghost of Tsushima that doesn't feel fresh in this iteration. There are a bunch of changes, and this is distinctly its own game, but there are times I'm like, this is Ghost of Tsushima. Some of that could be studio identity and branding rather than familiarity. Note that familiarity is not a bad thing, and I think people who say sequels shouldn't get a Game of the Year nod are idiots. This game in particular had so much familiarity that it didn't feel as fresh as it actually is, in my opinion. Do I think the game is worth it? Yes. Do I think this game is a phenomenal experience? Also yes. Is it the de facto game of the year? No, not for me, and that's okay. For more gaming and tech reviews, commentary, and conversation, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.